I, on a personal level, have been the subject of many leaks that I know not to be true because they were based on things that it was professed that I had said or hadn't said, or situations I had been or not been in. So I tend not to pay too much attention to leaks and anonymous sourcing.
Ivanka Trump, speaking to Abby Huntsman of The View, may have more to deal with this week with the release of Kushner, Inc. Greed, Ambition, Corruption, The Extraordinary Story of Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump. It's by investigative journalist Vicky Ward, who joins us now. There's the cover of the book. Your book is a tough take on Jared and Ivanka and their time in the White House. And Team Trump is fighting back very, very hard. I want to put up a statement from Peter Merjanian. He's a spokesperson for Jared Kushner's lawyer. He says, every point that Ms. Ward mentioned in what she called her fact-checking stage was entirely false. It seems she has written a work of fiction rather than a serious attempt to get at the facts. Brad Parscale, a campaign manager in 2020 for Trump, also says this book is a fantasy and simply a false narrative. Your response?
Well, I'd be curious if Brad Parscale has actually read it, because it's not out yet, George. It comes out on Tuesday. Look, Jared and Ivanka famously don't like it if people don't say great things about them. I wasn't expecting them to turn around and say, oh, she makes some good points. You know, I spent 2 years researching this. I interviewed 220 individual people, 118 of those multiple times. I recognize that the book does have a lot of anonymous sources, but I make it a point of principle when reporting to make sure that every scene has at least 2 sources. It's not just based on one person's recollection of events. It has to be double-sourced. I mean, you know, that's the only way you can really deal with anonymous sources.
How about their point on the fact-checking? The White House is maintaining that you didn't call Jared or Ivanka's offices in the White House for a response.
That's rubbish. That is absolute rubbish. I called, it took me a long time to even get Abby Lowell on the phone. He wouldn't respond to several emails. I finally got him last summer, and he said that he would, on behalf of Jared and Ivanka, respond to fact-checking questions. When I then sent the fact-checking questions, there were like 7 or 8 of them, which basically had, they needed yes or no answers, and they then delivered their rather ludicrous statement that it would take too much time. So, look, you know, it is what it is. I mean, this White House is known for knocking down anyone who reports about it, and I think Jared and Ivanka are obsessed with public relations, you know, more so than anyone else. And I think that, you know, there's been this myth out there. I think the theme of the book is that these are 2 people who are not what we hoped they would be. They're not the moral center of this administration. They're not the moderator.
You think they're enablers? I
think they're almost worse than enablers. I think that most people go in to government for public service. I think they've gone in for self-service.
Well, and that gets to what really is the most loaded charge. It's right on the cover of your book, corruption. I mean, that implies criminality. As you know, Jared spent dozens of hours with prosecutors being investigated, being interviewed. No charges have been brought. What evidence do you have that they are guilty of something that would require charges on the issue of corruption? Right.
So let's begin the very first weekend of the transition. Jared Kushner does not tell anyone else on the transition that he is having a meeting with his father and with other executives of his New York real estate company, Kushner Companies, with a major Chinese insurance firm and bank to try to sell their very troubled trophy building in New York, 666 Fifth Avenue. At the same time, on behalf of the transition, he is holding meetings with Chinese government officials and keeping all this his business dealings close to his vest. When Gary Cohn,
the president's incoming national economic advisor,
and Steve Bannon, when all his transition colleagues heard about this, they were horrified. Gary Cohn said to him, Jared, you realize that from now on, everything you do makes it look as if you are in government purely to enrich yourself. I think that is the appearance of corruption, George.
Gary Cohn is quoted several times in the book with quite critical statements,
Yes,
including after Charlottesville. He's put out a public statement saying they've worked well together, continue to be friends.
Yes, that's not
day.
saying that it didn't happen, though, is it, George?
Well, that's my question to you. Did he tell you these things?
Look, I'm a journalist. I protect my sources, but he's not saying it didn't happen. And if you could phone Gary Cohn.
I think I will. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.